Welcome to another edition of Camp Dolphins All Access. Mike Cunha alongside Kim Boatcamper. Last time I was here at NRG Stadium was the Final Four. A little different setup. This is not basketball inside there. Finally some football. Bo, we've seen the joint practices the last couple of days. We are gearing up for tomorrow's preseason game between the Dolphins and the Texans. But it feels like the Dolphins may have dodged a bullet on the injury front. We saw Teron Armstead leave yesterday, but apparently he will be ready for week one. Big sigh of relief, I got to imagine.
I think that in itself is a little bit of speculation too. I think this is a thing right now. And look, certainly the doctors and the team know much more than we do, but I think it's one of these situations. The thing that concerns me about it, he went down. His body language really told a story about what he was feeling, and then afterwards you get some different things. The only thing I'm concerned with it, he may be ready for week one because they've got plenty of time, almost a month really from now to play week one. But I'm just concerned, much like last year, I think over the last 3 or 4 years, he's missed up to average 5 games a season. Is it going to be one of those years where he can play for a couple weeks and he's out? That's kind of what concerns me. But the one thing I know about Teron Armstead, if he can play, he wants to play and will play. And when he plays, he's going to play very well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the record will be with him in the lineup, because obviously this team is much different offensively when he is there. All right, we do have a game to get to. It's always fun in these preseason games because there's camp battles, there's position battles, guys trying to make the roster. But overall, from what you've seen from these 2 joint practices, what do you want to see carried over from the practice field across the street to this stadium here?
It's kind of hard to speculate because you're not sure who's going to play, if the starters are going to play, and we think maybe some may play this week, maybe not until next week. So you kind of got to look at it. So what I'm looking for from these 2 joint practices, I thought both defensive fronts dominated the line of scrimmage during the practices. I want to see if the Dolphins in the game time can react and put up a better front against the Texans defense, and vice versa, if that Dolphin defense can continue to dominate against their offense, much like they did in these practices. It was a very defensive-dominated week here in in Houston. Let's see if game time we can balance it up a little bit more.
I'm just curious, do you think that's just a byproduct of preseason in general? Do the defenses typically have the leg up?
No doubt. But look, they've been in camp now for 3 weeks, so that's kind of come to a little bit more even. But the defense is always going to have a better chance. I just think they're better personnel on both defensive sides of the ball than the offensive lines that the teams have. I think it's just as simple as that.
True. For these preseason games, is there any game plan that goes in yet, or is it more based on the individual or the unit? Is game plan maybe saved for week 3 of the preseason?
You know what? I think any game plan, if they're going to save it for game 3, it's not going to be a very, very lengthy game plan. It's just kind of get something out there. I think in these games, coaches like these games because they can get matchups. I want to see this guy that we think could be a good receiver. I want to put him against their best defensive back and see what he does there. So more so than game planning, I think they're planning specific things like now, because right now they're not concerned about winning or losing games. I wish they would be, but right now they're just concerned about, let me get the best 53 guys I can get in here that are going to help us get off to a quick start when the season begins.
All right, we'll see if they can indeed work towards that, work towards a quick start. Game time, 3 o'clock local, 4 o'clock for our friends back home in Miami. Do not forget, we also have a pregame show starting at 3:30. You'll see me, you'll see Bo, you'll see Goldie, you'll see Joe Rose. The whole gang is going to be there. It's a who's who.
And a who's not.
Yeah, basically. It should be a lot of fun, so we'll catch you guys tomorrow. Thanks for joining us for another edition of Camp Dolphins All Access.